the run, Scotty B. It doesn't go, quickly scoops it up. Pascal finds Barrett, why not? Oh, Mississauga's finest, R.J. Barrett.
Star J. Barrett, ladies and gentlemen. The Raptors went into the Bay Area on the third game of a 6-game West Coast road trip and bashed Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors, beating them by 15 points, although it felt like more, and it was thanks in large part to R.J. Barrett, who put up a season-high 37 points on 65% shooting, knocking down 5 threes and bullying his way to easy shots.
I thought that RJ was great today. Obviously, he scored a lot, but I was really proud of his playmaking. With 6 assists, he played unselfishly. He was trying to make right plays every time down the court, and also I really liked the force that he was attacking the rim.
Not even trying to do anything crazy, just trying to play the basketball. You know, this team we're trying to get a lot of assists. We're trying to play together. So not just me, you know, everybody. Quick had 10 assists. Quick really got us going in the first quarter. Just, you know, kick aheads, throwing the ball aheads. Pascal got me some assists today. So just the whole team.
The Raptors carved out advantages in all areas tonight, outscoring the Warriors by 16 in transition and by 12 in the paint, which helped put them up by as much as 27 points in this game. And they did so despite quiet nights offensively from Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes, who only made 10 shots combined, with Scotty only scoring 6 points. But on the defensive end, the Raptors also completed an excellent game plan against Steph Curry, who only had 2 points at halftime and finished with 9 points on 2 of 14 shooting, with both Pascal and Scotty playing big parts in that, taking turns, making things hard for him offensively.
Defensively, I thought that we were very disruptive. We really wanted to get them out of their rhythm and their patterns. Obviously, Clay and Steph are the guys, they've seen it all, but we really wanted to make hard on them. And I thought that from the start of the game, we did a really good job. As you said, we had a lot of deflections and we were active on the ball. RJ, he was extra active today as well, and really getting his length and physicality in place, and that really helped us in the first half.
And while the Warriors clawed back to make things interesting, trimming the deficit to 9 in the third quarter, the Raptors bench showed up in a major way, scoring 51 points, including Chris Boucher, who went a perfect 7 for 7 from the field for 17 points, while Dennis Schroder and Gary Trent Jr. combined for 27 of their own. All in all, it looks like adding one more rotation player for the Raptors through acquiring both Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. The Raptors have actual depth now, and their rotation makes even more sense now, and the roles for the players coming off of the bench are much more clear now. Clarity is helping the Raptors play some really great offensive basketball, averaging 127 points per game since the trade. The offense looks good, folks, and a big reason for that is the exploits of one Canadian by the name of RJ Barrett. So let's get into how he exploded tonight for 37 points. People will bring up the shooting tonight as it pertains to RJ Barrett's explosion, but one thing I will note is that from this spot, right side above the break, he is shooting a career best in his career, 38%. All areas of his game, everywhere else around the three-point line, it's about 34%, 36%, but above the break, near the right side, he is shooting 38%. So that is where he hit most of his three-point shots tonight, 4 of 5. But where he was doing most of his damage, ladies and gentlemen, was in transition. And that has been the case throughout his tenure as a Raptor so far. Just bulldozing through defensive game plans, getting to the rim and finishing at will. Here he is in transition, 4-on-5 situation, goes all the way and finishes right. It misses, but he does a great job of keeping it high, keeping it on the rim so that other players like Jakob Poeltl here can go for the offensive rebound. He's been exceptional as a post player too. The Raptors carve out a mismatch here where Steph Curry is guarding RJ Barrett in the post and he takes him one-on-one. Nice little bump, finishes over top. He's been great and active on the defensive end as well. Here he is getting the deflection, and it leads to a fast break bucket for him, a right-handed layup. Another great defensive play by RJ here stops the layup by Trayce Jackson-Davis as the weak side help, and then pushes it in transition all the way, and a crazy high off the backboard finish for the layup. Again, takes the bump here and then is able to finish over top. Really impressive stuff in transition from RJ. And if we're looking back at the shooting again, once again, the same spot, hits another one. RJ is really good from that spot. Once again, you know, kind of transition opportunity, same area of the floor, knocks down another three. If you'll remember, by the way, that was also where he hit his game winner against the Boston Celtics. I'm not going to clip that, but if it is a pretty crazy game winner, it's online, you can go search it up. And now with the fact that teams are worried about the three-point shot, they're stepping out. You see Klay Thompson step out. That gives him the advantage to go all the way to the basket for the finish. And again, he misses here, but he leaves it on the rim for Jakob, who finishes with the and one. Great defensive play by Scotty Barnes. The Raptors are out and running, and a beautiful alley-oop. RJ Barrett gets up top for the finish. Another great transition play. The great thing about RJ, the difference, you know, I guess you will, between him and OG Anunoby in transition is because his handle is better. He can get to his own shot in transition much more often, but he's also still great at finishing plays. This time, opposite above the break shot, he hits a three as well. And then in the corner to make it 5 threes in the first half. He was scorching hot. There's no question about that. But I do think that this game also illustrated different areas of his game outside of the shooting where he was really, really good. The transition game, the post game, and I'll get into the playmaking in a second. Darko Rajakovic had mentioned that he had watched some Team Canada tape, and I do think based on the catch angles of RJ Barrett so far, that might be true. So he's catching it, and he has an open lane. Great job by Jakob Poeltl to seal off Klay Thompson to get him downhill. He has an open lane going to his dominant hand, which is his left hand, and he's able to just kind of bully his way to the basket that way. Curling is the best way to get momentum for RJ Barrett. Here he is in transition once again. You know, yes, he's going to be over aggressive at times, and it's going to make him, you know, take some ill-advised shots, but for the most part, he has been so good at making decisions for the Raptors. Here he is again in a dribble handoff pick and roll scenario. You see Jontay Porter slips, so Wiggins is forced to go with him, and that creates an opportunity. Again, curling to the basket. He takes advantage. Barrett takes advantage and finishes for the floater. Again, he leaves it on the rim for Jontay, who finishes with the offensive rebound. Once again, just in the post, Dario Saric is no chump. Like, this is a tough, big guy, 6'10", European dude. You're taken to the basket, pushes him off his spot, and then is able to finish through. This time it's Moses Moody in the post, and he just fades right over top. And now all of this barreling into the rim, all of this just rim pressure that RJ Barrett provides as this downhill threat, both in transition and in the half court, really opens up his playmaking game. And he found some guys for 6 assists on the night. You see him, you know, curling to the basket here. He is sent into a bunch of help. Dario Saric and Trayce Jackson-Davis are there. He kicks it to Gary Trent Jr., who then Gary is able to finish over the top of the defense. Good finish by Gary there as well. And RJ is really great for bench units, being this pick and roll initiator, creating off of the bounce for the Raptors bench. And I think that's what helped them really thrive in this game. You see him, you know, Spain pick and roll situation. He makes the read to Gary Trent Jr. Gary, pump, drive, really nice finish as well. And it's good when he's paired with another guard like Dennis Schroder, so he can attack the tilted defense, the advantage that the pick and roll makes. And so, you know, there's a high pick and roll between Dennis Schroder and Jakob Poeltl. It kind of gets the Warriors defense to pinch in. And so RJ takes it to the corner, and Chris Boucher knocks down the three. And when we talk about how that rim pressure that RJ provides allows him to make other plays, so you see they have him curling to the basket, going left hand, and with that dominant hand, he's able to send a nice pocket pass to Jakob for the finish. And in transition, he is a willing passer as well, although I'd like to see him do that more. Finds Gary Trent Jr. in a really important possession of the game for a three. And again, they can have him in bench units be this main primary creator. So now it's Schroder and Barrett making plays off of the bench. and you see this high screen and roll play. He sees Boucher shaking up, and Boucher knocks down the three. He made the Warriors defense pay all night. RJ Barrett. I thought in general, you know, over these first 4 games, obviously this was the explosion game for RJ Barrett, but I thought in general, he's been so good at getting downhill with a live dribble. And, you know, me and Samson talked about this on the podcast post game at Raptors Republic. You can go check that out as well. But in general, his ability to, you know, live dribble, create for himself, but also for others. So instead of the defense from one side, you know, let's say it's Pascal or Scotty or Dennis Schroder, an advantage is created, the defense is shifting, and through that shift, the ball gets in RJ's hands. RJ is able to take that advantage, get downhill, and either make the extra pass or go over for a layup. And so this context, the team context around which RJ is playing in right now, is very different to the one in New York, but it also is really benefiting his style of play and what he excels at in terms of being this left-handed finisher, in terms of being a guy who can apply pressure at the rim, a guy who can make plays out of like advantages other people have created on the court. And so RJ is playing some of the best basketball of his career right now. And it's crazy because yes, it's 4 games, all that stuff. We'll see, you know, Knicks fans will be quick to remind you that like, hey, this doesn't happen all the time, and watch, he's going to go on a cold streak and whatnot, and we'll see. But I do think that the context that the Raptors provide is a little bit easier for RJ to get his game off of. And so that was the game, ladies and gentlemen. The Raptors look good. In general, as we're talking about context, and you know, I mentioned earlier that the bench scored 52 points. I think that is the biggest takeaway from this stretch of basketball from the Raptors. Things make more sense now. With Precious Achiuwa out of the lineup, Chris Boucher's role off of the bench is much more clear. He knows he's the one guy crashing the offensive glass. He knows he's that stretch 5 for them, the guy who can kind of space the floor in bench units. He knows that he's a guy who can, you know, be this weak side rim protector for the bench as well, making that concerted effort on a given night. It's much easier when you don't have another big man in there in Precious Achiuwa crowding up the middle. With Dennis Schroder, adding Emmanuel quickly as your starter, you're sliding Dennis to a more appropriate role as a backup point guard. And so now Dennis is able to feast against second units, be that primary creator against bench units, be that facilitator against bench units. And it's great that he has a guy like RJ Barrett beside him who can also create against those bench units as well and dominate like he did tonight. I think role definition and role clarity has had a cascading effect on how the Raptors have been able to operate in these first 4 games with this new trade. And it's just about the clarity of what the guys need to do on any given night. Even Gary Trent Jr., right? Before the trade, you were asking Gary to do a lot of ball handling, right? A lot of playmaking, a lot of ball handling. And while you probably still are asking him to do that, I think he's being able to be served as a play finisher, as a 3-point shooter, as a guy who's attacking a tilted defense like we saw against the advantages that RJ Barrett created for him because of a guy like RJ playing with that bench. And so there is a hierarchy now, I think. There is a method to the madness that there just wasn't for the first 33 games of the season. And that is the main takeaway post-trade, is that there is clarity, there is a method to the way the Raptors want to win, and it is being this great offensive team, which is, it's wild to say. It's been a while since the Raptors have been this sort of like, they can be a top 10 offense in the NBA, and they might be able to do it with a pretty efficient half-court offense, which is just, it's been different for the Raptors over the last 4 or 5 years. Now they can lean into something new. And so that's how they win, ladies and gentlemen. They got the Los Angeles Lakers on Tuesday night. Then it's a back-to-back playing the Clippers on Wednesday. That should be interesting in itself to see how this team deals with playing on a back-to-back, to see what kind of legs they get from their guys. I thought quickly in general, and Scotty tonight didn't have like the craziest of games, but you saw them have really good games against Sacramento and against Memphis. And so it's cool to see how this team is sort of sharing the responsibilities while also figuring out how these new guys can be incorporated. You saw quickly explode in Memphis. You saw RJ explode tonight. And maybe, just maybe, this team is on the ups, ladies and gentlemen. Things are looking good. So thank you very much for tapping in to the recaps that we do. We will be here for every other game, ladies and gentlemen. We will be recapping as we always do. And if you are interested in other NBA content, tap in to the Objective Basketball Podcast. We talk about the NBA at large, and we'd love to talk about it with you. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys later. Take care.